Let's take a breath together. So good morning, everyone, to this beautiful Monday morning. It's already September 10th, hard to believe. And being here in New England, all of a sudden, I'm having to put on layers, which is really interesting for this Florida girl. So welcome to our Good of the Whole Global Heart Resonance call this morning. And usually here, I'll be with Michelle Pollard, but she is in Paris and she can't make it this morning due to some technical difficulties of realizing that she didn't get the time zones correct. So with that, Michelle, we hold you in this circle, and Julie has so beautifully stepped in and will be opening our call here this morning. So welcome for those of you that are new. Just a quick housekeeping. If you're on a phone, remember you can always add the Zoom app onto your phone and just put in the ID number. Click on Join Meeting. And for those that are here on computer, we love to see you. And so if you can, be a part of this beautiful tapestry, feel free to put yourself on speaker view and or be on the gallery view. So that's up in the right-hand corner. So with that, I'm going to pass this beautiful opportunity to Julie to open us, and then I'll come back in with the topic for today. Okay.
Thank you, Shelley. And Shelley asked if I would do an attunement this morning, and then she said, and do you want to talk about good of the whole? And so I'll have to tell you what happened last night. I talk about time zones. I was on a class to support a friend, and they changed the time zones every week, so because it's such an international call, and it began at 11 p.m. last night. And I'm going to tell you about good of the whole, but I'm going to tell you this in this powerful metaphor and this powerful guidance that came in for me, because I think it's really helpful. So after a full day yesterday, I was working on an old turn-of-the-century building, renovating and tearing up flooring and cleaning and because we're doing this major remodeling. And after going to bed last night, I was awoken by guidance that made this metaphor so clear to me for good of the whole. So I'm going to read first our mission and tell you just a little bit about good of the whole with this metaphor, and then I'll bring you into an attunement. So sorry, Shelley, you didn't know what you were asking when you asked me this. But our mission at Good of the Whole is to cultivate an ethos of wholeness and advance a whole worldview from the grassroots to the evolutionary edge, by providing support, opportunities to experience, embody, and express inherent wholeness. And so obviously we're about wholeness, good of the whole, this ethos of wholeness, this whole worldview. And we have what we call co-mentors. You become a mentoring steward, and we're co-mentoring each other. And last night I heard, after I went to bed at 12:30, and I was awakened real quickly with this guidance to empower and support. It's like 1 million mentors for this worldview. Like, how can you support? We know there's more than that mentors out there. There's so many amazing leaders and evolutionary leaders and thinkers that are out there doing the work of really bringing this whole worldview to the planet. And I hear, gather, identify 1 million. And here's what I heard. It's like a renovation project where we're not getting rid of this earth and getting rid of this humanity and starting all over. We are in a renovation project on our planet to bring this whole worldview through, to bring this idea of our wholeness, to remember our wholeness, to bring us back into wholeness. So with a huge renovation project like that, we need a lot of different contractors who are doing their work on the planet. And each one is doing, in a renovation project, you got the drywallers, you got the plumbers, you got the heating and air people, and you got me tearing up a floor and sweeping and vacuuming. And even repurposing. So we're repurposing this space downtown, and we're repurposing this room by literally, I could have thrown a bunch of old cardboard boxes out, or I could tear them down and repurpose and recycle them. So Good of the Whole is about really supporting us doing our work on the planet. So with that, I'm going to use that as our attunement. So let's all take a few deep breaths together, get comfortable in your chairs. And take a few deep breaths. Bringing our awareness into this moment. Bringing our awareness into this body. Into your heart space. Bringing your awareness into the silence. Bring your awareness into your wholeness. And attuning to this frequency of wholeness. Bringing that awareness from within to the frequency of the collective whole in its wholeness. And really tune into that experience, what that's like to attune to that higher frequency. To come into resonance with that collective wholeness, the truth of who we be. One of my favorite mentors says, we don't have consciousness, we are consciousness. Feel what that experience is like. We are consciousness. And then just relax into a knowing that in this space is all the truth and wisdom and guidance, blueprints, templates, information, everything that we need to then step out and inform the field as a co-creator. And part of that information is the beautiful world around us. And so with that, I'm going to turn this back over to Shelley.
Wow. Sorry. So deep in. Thank you so much, Julie. And thank you for sharing that beautiful story and bringing us into this collective field of the whole. So today our topic is the place of resonation. And here we be, as Julie said, here we be, right here. And so I'm just going to read in honor of Michelle, who really brought this forward, a little miracle that unfolded as I turned on the Zoom for the call today. So as I turned it on, these owls started hooting, and I haven't heard them in quite a while. And they were just like going off, and I was hooting back and they were hooting. And so it just was so perfect in terms of this topic this morning. So, tribal people have never regarded wilderness as a threat. Rather, it is a place to befriend, where one can discover both the mystery of creation and oneself. The ancient Hebrew word for wilderness, the scene of so much transformation and new beginnings, is midbar, that which resonates. In the rugged expanse of wildness resonates as spiritual communication, the call of the soul, the call of the sacred word of nature, the unveiled source. The call of the wild says that the mystery is inside you and was inside you all the time. Just you needed to be somewhere where the call could resonate, where the voice of your soul could be heard. This happens when you enter into the deep silence within, either out in nature or in the depths of your heart. This quote is by The Healing Wisdom of Mary Magdalene by Jack Angelo. And so today we gather with this reflection. Are you somewhere where your call can resonate, where the voice of your soul can be heard? Or are you still hesitating before you wrap your mind and heart around the transformation you are ready? Today, let's listen for what the resonant field unfolds for us in our journey together, and we will know what to speak out loud. So continue just breathing with that as I just remind people, and for people who are here who are new, just to simply, this is a participatory, restorative call, and it's a practice. So to say your name and speak from essence, speak to the whole. This is where we shift from the I to the we, to the group, to, as Julie was saying, the collective field. Sharing the bottom line insight. And keeping your shares 1 to 2 minutes. You're welcome to share more than once, but we really invite this pause, this place of informing, of information, where we receive that as we really focus consciously with this thread, this emergent thread that happens on this call as we build greater coherence within the field itself. So with that, just inviting everyone to just continue this beautiful frequency, what we call in Good of the Whole, the home frequency. So welcome everyone, and old and new faces. And don't forget to take yourself off mute when you want to speak. And with that, I pass this beautiful crystalline talking stick. Thank you. I'm complete and whole and home.
On early. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me now? It's Nancy Chiconis from California. I wanted to jump on early because I won't be able to stay on the whole call because today is Rosh Hashanah, which is so perfect. I wanted to get on this morning and be with all of you because Rosh Hashanah is the Jewish New Year, and it goes for 10 days and ends up with Yom Kippur, which is the Day of Atonement, or what we've been calling the Day of At-One-ment. And I've noticed that it's just such a powerful time. It's a powerful spiritual time, whether you're Jewish or not. And it's a sacred time for me. And so I wanted to make sure I was just with you, even though I'm just on the phone this morning, just to be with all of you in kind of celebration of newness. And I love the topic today. Many of you know that the wilderness is dear to my heart, and it's where I connect and where I feel the most resonance. And I'm so grateful for my experience of feeling comfortable and safe in the wilderness so that I can expand my comfort zone and have these amazing experiences. So I just wanted to put my essence into the call before I have to leave, and to wish all of you a sweet year. We say, may you be inscribed in the book of life for a sweet year. I'm sending you all love and sweetness for beautiful adventures ahead. Thank you all for being here. I'm complete.
This is Henry. So much wonder already placed in the field. Wholeness, resonance. Actually picked up a calendar that I purchased early for next year. Speaking about New Year's. I always get the Eckhart Tolle calendars, the New Earth ones, because I love the simplicity and it opening to the moment or the now. And I was looking, I haven't opened the calendar yet, but I was looking at the quote on the front cover that said, "Life is always now." Your entire life unfolds in this constant now. So here we are in the always now, receiving the invitation to step into that wholeness, that essence, that resonance, the essence, here together, the primal beingness of our wilderness, of our wildness. And I'm just really grateful for this moment of joining together here with you all. Thank you, I'm complete.
This is Julie. I'm just feeling into that idea of the power of now with the metaphor that I opened the call with today, of really taking a really old building and bringing it into the now, but not looking backwards or looking forward, but being in the now of this expanding consciousness as we're looking at the world as well. Because so often evolutionary leaders are looking at the end goal. I appreciate you bringing the now back into this call, because we look long distance. So many are already saying 2020 and 2030 and when this happens, and we've got to get all of this to happen. It moves us off of this place of power and authenticity and beauty that fuels us, that feeds us, that keeps us moving forward in this new earth renovation project, because we're never really done, right? We're never really done. We're just upgrading where we're at in this now with the consciousness of who we be in the now. So that's an exciting element to really muse into for me, is to keep that, the now, in the motivation of everything that we do and be. That there's no rush, there's no end goal, there's no, it's hard when we watch our friends and our neighbors going, we have to reverse this now, we have to change this now. There's just a lot of noise out there that brings us to the urgency of now instead of the beauty and unfolding of the now. So with that, just wanted to drop that in, and I'm complete.
This is Dinama. Be here now. It's that simple and that powerful. And I'm invited to see the light that is the space around each of us. That is us. The body encapsulates the light. The light is far beyond this identity, this body. And that is the invitation to power, is what I'm finding. When we fully embody that, it is happening. It is happening now. And we are consciously happening it. I'm complete.
This is Shelley, and I'm being called to pull by just that invitation to power. I just had to. I feel like the whole journey is the invitation to our reclamation, or as Julie was saying, the renovation of this of these old forms, and that's inclusive of this being, to really get down to what is each one of ours medicine. What's the medicine that we have to give and to offer? I'm really in a query about this thing about wildness. And it's really funny being here up in the woods in nature. And I wake up so many times during the night like that, like on alert, like hearing this noise here and hearing this crunch or this tree branch fall because I'm like out alone and there's nobody around. And this invitation to power, this I mean, to me, in some sense, when I first think of wildness, I think of, wild beasts, bears, that ultimately are just living the presence of who they are, and we grow a fear around them. This guy was walking and he was telling me, you better carry a stick, and he's carrying a ski pole. He's out walking, and and I get it, and at the same time, where's that trust in my own presencing, my own auric field, my own light? I don't want to be foolish. At the same time, I remember going into the woods the other day, and I was on my bike and I got a little nervous because, all those feelings of fear. And then I just took a breath and went, actually, no, I'm just going to really be bestowed in the gift of the light that I am and the love that I am. And I am going to trust, that I happen to be here and moving through the woods, and it was fine, and how miraculously when I first got here, when I was on my bike and this ranger said to me, I was kind of checking out this new place, and he said, "Oh, are you going into the woods?" And I said, "Well, I don't know, maybe you mentioned it, maybe I will." And he said, "Actually, no, you don't want to, because we were just alerted by a biker that just came out that there's a mother with cubs." So it's kind of like feeling into that flow of the field and really trusting that, and which allows then I believe that this exaltation of self gets to shine. And that is actually the pure wildness of the human being, that we get to be free in our being and body. So with that, I thank you and pass the thread along.
Morning, everyone. This is Karen from Costa Rica. When I read the thing last night when I heard you talk about the wild, and it made me think of all the beauty here. And I live in a development where I have neighbors real close, but across the street is wild, jungly forest, and one house that way, past that, all the way to the main road is the same thing with the river flowing behind. And I live on a dirt rock road that is amazing to walk down, and there's a little bridge that dips down. It's so low it's often underwater when we have too much rain, and I can sit at the river there. And even though it's not total wilderness, it's just being in nature, and that oneness and that feeling you get when you're in nature. And I need to do that more. I'm working on that. And after Julie spoke, it was like, yes, thank you for reminding me, the field, bringing that forth to remind me to allow. We need to stop trying to make things happen, just allow them to unfold, that unfolding. And that's actually where the power is, in the allowing things to unfold. And finding, with Shelley, the balance between, being wise about things, or just knowing everything's okay and just going for it. And it's been a very wonderful, interesting morning. Of course, when I saw the wild, also what came to mind was wise, wild women. There's groups like that, the wild women, and it's an exciting challenging time to be here. We're all here for a reason and a purpose. And talking about things before the call, private recording, you know, this is a place where it just is right to be natural and not worry about how you look so much and just be free. And my hair will be dry probably by the end of the call. So, and then I'm going for a walk down my dirt road to the river. And I apologize, Shelley, for not making the call yesterday. I fully intended to. Things happened that kept me from it. So today I'm going to do what I didn't do yesterday. And take my jar down to the bridge, gather the water, get out my crystals. And it may not be a total new moon, but do it today. So thank you. Thank you. I really wanted to be there. So, and I guess I'm complete for now. Thank you all. This is a wonderful call, and it's an amazing way to start the day. And the second to my week, because Sundays I do the Calling the Miraculous call with that attunement. So between Sunday and Monday mornings, it's a wonderful way to start the week. Thank you all. I love you all. I can feel you all.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Miles, and as I said, I live in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. I'm not sure what the date was when I called in previously. A lot has happened, but when I saw this message about today's call, I thought, I'm drawn to be part of this. Talking about wilderness and the indigenous people and our need to renovate, restore, and just let things happen. But be there, be present, be ready to act. I'm reminded of a person that presented at a Toastmasters club last week, did a little speech about the Chinese bamboo tree. And apparently the Chinese bamboo tree needs to be watered, fertilized, nurtured for 5 years. And then all of a sudden, it starts to grow. And it grows at an incredible rate of, I think he said it'll go to 90 feet tall in 5 weeks. It'll grow at about 2 feet per day. So I think at some point in time, maybe we're very close to that bamboo tree, but we just have to have faith and be present. One of the things that happened, and I'm not sure if this happened since I called or did I talk to this in my previous call, but I had recently developed a friendship with a Cree gentleman from Saskatchewan. His name was William Bellegarde. And we were about to have coffee to chat about an initiative that he was working on called his Creation Lodge. And it's all a synchronicity for me in that I've been grappling with a statement by another Indigenous person who's actually a senator here in Canada, Murray Sinclair, and he said, we will not have reconciliation until all creation stories are given equal respect. And, you know, I'm trying to personally reconcile that, and I have. And I now actually will propose that even if you believe in the Bible, if you're a Christian, there's no other option but to allow all creation stories to have equal respect. Because at the end of the day, Christ just said, love each other. Love Creator, or whatever spiritual consciousness source there is, but to love. And to me, I now realize there's no other way but to say, yes, all creation stories need to have equal respect. Now, with respect to the collective, I just will share one more thing. When I was going to this meeting where we were going to specifically remember our friend who passed away, William Bellegarde, the Cree gentleman, Indigenous person from Saskatchewan, I had a little bit of extra time before the meeting, and I thought, well, I should go for a walk. My wife's always telling me you got to get exercise every day. So there happened to be a cemetery, and I thought I'm going to walk through this cemetery. And I came across a section of the cemetery. Sorry. I came across a section of the cemetery that's reserved for children. A section of the cemetery reserved for children. And there's a little girl buried there, Marlo Ann Adderson, born July 1st, 1979, died February 18th, February 19th, 1984. So she was just 5 years old. On the tombstone, it said, "Lord, teach me how to give back to thee the treasure thou didst lend to me." And it made me think, first of all, those words are very powerful. And it is about surrendering to love, surrendering to the collective, and realizing that everything that we're created of is the love that people have shown us over our lifetime. And thinking of my own tombstone, I was thinking, I'd just like to have everybody's name inscribed on that tombstone, and somewhere in the middle, you'd throw my name in there. So with that, I'm complete.
That brings me to a place of, so the topic, this place of resonation. And this exquisite, sorry, I'm just, whoever is, let's go check who's, okay. Just check your, oh, Karen, I'm going to just put you on mute for a sec. Okay, there we go. Sorry. The topic of today, place of resonation. And just listening to that story and this sense of reciprocity, that when we are in this soul place, how the things that come to us take us deeper into this place of humility. And I was sort of realizing this relationship with wildness, you know, seeing the children in the forest. You know, when a child goes into the forest, you know, they're free, they're happy, they don't need computers. They're just in their full joy to climb on these rocks and climb these trees and, you know, jump in the water, whatever it is. And it's interesting, you know, this relationship between life and death, you know, and this time in between that we have to acknowledge and, you know, to this, you know, I love that, this full recognition of these creation stories having equal respect. You know, I guess it brings me back to, we are the ancestors. Why wouldn't we have respect for our creation stories? Because we are that. This morning I ended up remembering writing something about just, you know, I am because I create, because I am the creative force. And I think just that feeling of this sense of wilderness and wildness, this allowing ourselves to live this creation story in such a way that we can embrace every moment and every being. And it is tricky. There's no question about it. It's tricky. And we do have to question some of the things that are happening around us. But the questioning ultimately is simply about, how does that resonate with me in this place right here, right now? That's what's sort of, the threads are just kind of coming together, and that feeling. You know, and the deep, deep, deep humility and love that we have for each other and for the children. You know, it's so much why, you know, we're talking about the 7 generations behind us. And it's why we want to co-create and co-mentor each other into this highest frequency of love. So I'm just really in great admiration of how the field is speaking forth here this morning. And I open it up once again. I'm complete.
This is Henry. I'd like to follow that thread and just opening to an equal respect of the impulse of creation in each person, in all the diversity, all the creativity, all the uniqueness, all the beauty, to give an equal respect for that, an equal respect for each moment and the creation that is happening in each moment. We are each creating here in the circle by our sharing. We are part of the creation story in each moment. So in addition to the ancestry and those stories, we are creators in each moment, and to giving equal respect to the impulse of that comes forth from all peoples, from each peoples, from the great diversity on our planet. And a second piece, I looked up a few minutes ago the meaning of wilderness. I was trying to look for root words, wanting to get into words, and it said something about uninhabited or uncultivated places. And we are learning to inhabit. We are learning to cultivate, to renovate those places, all of the greater fullness, the greater wholeness of who we are. And we go out into the wildness, and the child knows. And we each know, if we give ourselves permission to explore that territory, we take the courage to be in the place of not knowing, so that we can advance beyond to that greater wholeness that we are. So I feel complete.
This is Dinama, and I'm hearing trust our intuition. That's where the wildness is. I'm complete.
I see Nahid speaking,
Yeah.
but I
Naheed, turn your mute off.
Oh. When I trust my intuition, I experience uncultivated, the raw, the wilderness aspect of myself. I am the wilderness. I am the nature. I am roaring. And if I am in a place of non-resonance, then to another one, I am the wilderness. I am scary. When I am roaring in my power, I am scary for another. And sometimes I scare myself. When I cannot wrap my mind around it, which most of the time, if I trust my intuition and flow with that and allow that, it is scary to my mind. And I feel that in this exchange between the nature, and when I go out, it gives me that place of resonance that I enter the flow. And when I go into the flow, I am the nature inside. I have all that I'm experienced if I go to wilderness. And in the roaring and the wildness that I am, when I allow it and I come out of that, then it is that quietness. It is that deep silence, and it is the joy that I find myself in it. I am complete. Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm.
Miles here again. Very recently, serendipity has exposed me to a person who has studied Carl Jung for many years. I knew next to nothing other than Jung's name maybe 9 months ago. And Jung empirically and scientifically analyzed tens of thousands of people's dreams. So he empirically explored the unconscious and came up with this concept of the self, or sacred self with a capital S, is in our depths. And within each of us is this creator image or source image or God image, whatever we want to say. And so indeed, that actually changed my perspective to the point where I now say that I'm not a Christian, just because the word Christianity has so much baggage attached to it. But nevertheless, I will still reference the Bible. I'll still speak of Christ just as Carl Jung did, as one of the archetypical images of source. And this gentleman that I recently started to listen to, a quote from Jung is that we must all do just what Christ did. We must make our experiment. And so our life is an experiment, and we're all, no matter how insufficient we might think we are all sources of that love, source, love, God. And we cannot disconnect ourselves, as the previous speaker Nahid mentioned, that we are wilderness. We are Mother Earth. She's our mother, and she's a living being, and we need to restore her. We need to renovate, and get back into balance and harmony. And I also now realize there's also a tremendous need for harmony, reconciliation of masculine and feminine. And I think men, we need to, well, the Bible does say men love your women, and then only then is this line about women submitting. But until the men are loving, and that's the ultimate love, is the ultimate submission, the ultimate surrender. And Sophia is feminine wisdom. With that, I'm complete.
Thank you so much, all of you, for bringing the force of nature, your wildness to this call. And at this point, we take the collective field and love to invite people that haven't shared to share, as we who have already shared to take hold the field together, allowing those ones that haven't spoken to speak, and we'll spiral into the final piece of our call. So don't forget to take yourself off mute if you haven't spoken, and yeah, nothing more than that. I'm complete.
Yeah, I just kept being drawn to this call this morning. I kept trying to get my head into business and kept being drawn back into this call. So I finally submitted and decided to come on the call. And it's really great to be here. I feel that unity with nature very strongly. And I live sort of surrounded by a forest, and I can feel their interconnectedness. And it's a cutover forest, so it's not an old forest. And when the storms come, I can look out and see how they're supporting each other. If they were in one single tree in a big open area, they probably would fall down. But they're all these tall, thin trees trying to reach for the sun. But in that essence, when the winds blow, they just, they support each other, and no one falls down. And I find that quite incredible, because when I first moved here, I kept looking and waiting for the trees to crash down, and branches have come down. But it's that interconnectedness, and I can go with the energy and feel them connecting in the soil and, becoming one. And it's really incredible. And with that, I'm complete. Thanks.
This is Oriana, and as Barbara Mark Seppard likes to say, have us introduce ourselves. I am evolution, having an Oriana experience. And the fertile earth, the roots beneath the soil. And even as Julie was saying, that moment of now. Imagine evolution has a plan, and that plan is for something so much greater, beyond what we can imagine. And that future is what we're holding. And we're holding it in the embryo that began life. We're holding it in the rhythm of its unfolding. And knowing that the future is what we are holding. It's how we're coming together and feeling this field, holding it with love, knowing it's the future that is meant to be in compassion, cooperation, collaboration. And as we come into knowing this and feeling it and holding it, it's bringing it into being. So that rather than having a fear of what might happen. We can live in that moment of knowing that it is our future unfolding that is meant to be. It's the wisdom we bring in that is unfolding. And I am complete.
Here. Thank you for everyone's contributions today. And I don't have much to say. I've been doing water healing on the Missouri River, and I just ask for a prayer for all the beings that are about to be affected by Hurricane Florence. And if it is a possibility, I ask that we join together to imagine that a turn is possible, this great storm, and I am complete. Thank you.
A perfect closing in terms of the wildness, the wild nature, and asking her to tone down a little bit, make that turn, and we can do that. So see the way this call ends. Just before we end this call, I just want to say for those who are coming on or who are watching this, please come and register at goodofthewhole.com. Or there's a link on our Good of the Whole Facebook page to register for this call so that you can get the weekly resonance reflections. They're really beautiful and it's a great opportunity, as well as coming on to the Good of the Whole community community Facebook page where we interact with each other. You have a chance to really continue during the week to share the experiences you're having and the things that are influencing you. So we invite everyone on this call to take yourselves off mute, and we do this beautiful symphony of yum, and let's spread it out, and let's just move that hurricane off its course with our love. So with that, yum.
Yum.
Yum, 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 yum,
Yum.
Thank you for showing up so much. What a beautiful yum.
yum.